I'm back. I'm back. I don't know what happened. I was minding my business. StreamYard does this sometimes. Let me turn the music off. Had to put Isaiah Rashad back on and get myself together because that really irritated me. But StreamYard does this sometimes where I'll literally be in the middle of a stream and it'll just sign me out of my YouTube account because it feels like it. So I apologize for that. Hopefully those of you who were joining me in the beginning will trickle back into the room. If not, I'm just grateful for whoever is here to get this message. I am going to keep up those first 15 minutes though, because they were delicious. And I'm going to try my best to re-summarize. Sierra, I haven't seen you in a minute. Oh my God. Okay, that made me happy. That made me happy seeing you pop up. I'm in a better mood now. Okay. But I am going to leave that first part up. So unfortunately, this weekly energy reading, this weekly wisdom is going to have a part 1 and a part 2. Now, I'm going to very briefly summarize what came up in the general reading. Please watch the first one because the way I went through it was really good. But to summarize very, very quickly, for this next week, it is really important that you have faith, right? Not just faith in the universe, but faith in yourself, right? Faith in the fact that the things you have been working hard on will manifest for you. And just because they're not happening quickly doesn't mean that they aren't happening. If you have a moment of doubt, lean on your ancestors, lean on yourself, step into your faith, right? The way you talk about yourself is of paramount importance this week. This is not a week to be going for external validation from other people, because if you do that, it will only fuel and feed any imposter syndrome that is lingering. And we don't need that. We don't have time for that, right? If indecision creeps into your life, go outside, connect with nature, do the things you need to do to ground yourself, and lean into your spiritual regimen. But the card that fell out while I was shuffling the 8 of Swords, be careful about that. Don't default to fear. Don't let fear imprison you. Because for some of us, again, with this Ace of Pentacles, some really beautiful opportunities to move forward on things we've been trying to manifest will be presented to us. If we default to imposter syndrome and doubt, we will mess up some really delicious opportunities, okay? That's a very quick retelling of what the general reading was. Again, those of you who are seeing this video, I strongly encourage you to go back and look at part 1 before StreamYard decided to be a hating ass bitch and log me out of my own YouTube channel. Because I go through it much more thoroughly. But again, for the sake of time, because it is a Sunday night and a lot of us are getting ready for the week ahead, I'm not going to rehash the entire reading, and I do want to go ahead and jump into the individual topics, okay? So that is just to bring you up to speed on what I was saying and the message Spirit gave us before I was so rudely interrupted. But let's go into the rest of the readings. Where should I go next? Should I go with love? Should I go with money? Should we go with health? Health feels right. Let's go with health and wellness. Thank you all for those of you who've come back. I see some faces that were here the first time who've trickled back into the room. Thank you for your patience as I figured out that technological mishap. Aisha said health, please. All right, so we will go with health. Sisters, angels, ascended masters, spirits, and walk with me. My elevated ancestors. What wisdom do we as a collective need about our holistic health and wellness as we go into the week of April 13th through the 19th? Give us insight into how we need to prioritize our mental, physical, and spiritual health and wellness over the next 7 to 10 days. What are the habits we need to release, maintain, or increase in order to have good balance of our health If there are any obstacles or challenges, anything we need to be made aware of so that we know how to heal them, bring them into the light now and give us wisdom around the medicine we need to give ourselves. Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Sierra, you've been on my heart lately, but I try not to be like a stalker and bother people. I'm really bad at reaching out, and I'm trying to get better about that. So I'm so glad that you're here tonight and that you had the time to come and join us. It's really good to see you here. And I'm glad that you're here too, Sylvia. Thank you for joining. I can? Okay, good. Thank you for letting me know that. I don't know why. It's something. I'm gonna tell on you. Okay, my mama, I love her down, but as an adult now I understand parent overstimulation. And my mama had 10 children. And so even though she was a loving Cancerian woman, she would get overstimulated sometimes. So I carry that in adulthood. And I have this tendency to feel like if I'm just going to bother somebody, and I need to not call it bothering, if I'm going to reach out to somebody and just be like, what you doing? That is me bothering them. But I'm going to try to let that go. And especially since you've given me permission, Sierra, I'm going to try to be better about checking on you because I have been thinking about you lately. I hope that, life is going good for you and that people are treating you well. All right. Stress and worry are coming up. Please be mindful of your stress and your worry this week. Clarify the Eight of Swords, ancestors. Give us wisdom about the Eight of Swords. This Eight of Swords keeps coming up. This is the second time he's popped up on us. Yeah. If you find yourself engaging in catastrophic thinking, if you find yourself being anxious or ruminating about the past, the two things that are really going to help pull you out of that this week are, again, your spiritual traditions, your routines. Have you prayed? Pray more. Even if you did pray, you need to pray more, right? Praying, meditating. Sometimes you're anxious because you haven't cleaned your house recently. Let's be real. When was the last time you did a floor wash, right? When was the last time you smudged? Really leaning into your spiritual traditions and routine and being spiritually disciplined will help you tremendously with being able to manage your stress and anxiety this week, right? That's one thing you need to do. But the other thing you need to do is bring yourself into the moment, right? Because anxiety is being worked up about the future. Depression is being wrapped up in the past, right? And so with this Eight of Swords, the clarifiers I pulled over it are the Strength card and the Nine of Cups. The thing that will help you manage your stress and anxiety this week is literally having the strength to be grateful, to remind yourself of how far you've come, right? There's no point in worrying about the future because it's not here yet. And worrying about the future is ingratitude because you're acting like the blessings you have in the moment are not enough. Worrying about the past is ingratitude because you're longing for something that is already past instead of being grateful for your present moment, right? So if you find yourself wrapped in a prison of fear, doubt, and worry, the thing that is going to pull you out of it is having the strength, right? The authenticity and the clarity to be able to be grateful for who you are and what you have in the moment, right? A lot is coming up about mental and emotional health this week. And it makes sense. We do have this new moon in Aries that's coming up on Friday. If you did not get to catch the Astro Hour on Thursday, I strongly encourage you to go back and watch the replay. But a lot of us are thinking about the past, right? And here's the thing, if you can use it in a strategic way to align with whatever wisdom or information that brings you closer to a more active and more assertive version of yourself, then that's a beautiful thing. But if you're just ruminating and longing and wrapped up in nostalgia that is making you ungrateful, you gotta let that go, right? This is not a week to worry. Um, it's really a week to be mindful of your emotional health, right? Being gentle with yourself, being loving with yourself, giving yourself the grace that you need, right? Knight of Cups is the card of the poet. It's also the card of the romantic. And whatever you're longing for in the past, yeah, you can't go back and get it, but you can really be gentle and loving and caring with yourself in the moment, right? So that's another thing. What have you done to really nurture your creativity lately, right? And when I talk about creativity, I don't mean journaling, because some of us, when we journal, it's very much spiritually rooted, and some of that could be causing the anxiety, right? But what are you doing to really be playful, to be wrapped up in the romanticism of your life? I love whimsy. I'm a whimsy addict, and the Knight of Cups is also a whimsy addict. So a lot of what's going to help many of us really navigate our mental and emotional health this week is creating opportunities for whimsy, right? And this is the healthy way to really engage with that Six of Cups inner child healing. What can you do to feed your inner child some whimsy and delight in life, so that that way you're not just focusing on the negativity of your past, right? Because if you look at your life from a place of balance, and that's why that Nine of Cups is here talking about the gratitude, right? If you look at your life from a place of balance, your past is not all worry, stress, and woe is me. There's actually a lot of delight, a lot of whimsy, a lot of joy, a lot of opportunity for creativity in your past. And that's the part of your past that the inner child wants to really connect with right now. Not the stress, not the worry, not the fear. They really want you to be in that place of balance, right? And why is this coming up? Some of you guys who are watching this either live or in a replay are so used to focusing on the negative aspects of your past that you forget that there are lessons you learned about yourself in the past that fuel and feed the badass that you are now. And it's being able to tap into those aspects of yourself that are going to give you the vitality and the energy and the strength to go after who it is you want to be and actually make progress towards the future you want to have for yourself, right? Remembering that the Chariot is a card of success. It is a card of knowing that you're going to hit your targets and being brave enough to go after what it is you want, right? But you can't do that if the only thing you remember about yourself is your mistakes and your negative memories, right? Remember the part of you that made you have these big dreams and visions in the first place, because that is just as an important part of your past as the negative things, right? The last piece of wisdom I want to give you, in addition to being mindful of the narratives you tell yourself about the past, right? Being careful about not ruminating, being spiritually disciplined enough to lean into prayer and practice. The other thing is that you guys have to start spending time with the people that actually pour into you. Ten of Pentacles, right? Be in community. This is not a week for isolation. That's what I'm trying to articulate, right? Isolation is not good for your mental or emotional health this week. It's not going to be helpful. And rather than reaching out to the people who remind you of every mistake you've made in your past, this is a time where you got to reach out to and give me, what's the word, Spirit? Congregate. Congregate with the people who see the brilliance in you, who see the way that you are a benefit to your lineage, who are capable and who will remind you of not only the power that you come from, but everything that you have in terms of your responsibility. You literally have a responsibility to win, right? And that's why we can't waste a whole lot of time in this Eight of Swords energy this week. Because if all you do is focus on your fuck ups and what didn't go right, if you avoid these people who are going to remind you of how abundant and how capable and how brilliant and how blessed you are, it's not going to help you, right? And a lot of times, this is one of the difficulties of living in a society like the US that is so individualistic, right? We think our success is just about us. Think about all the people that need to see you succeed because it motivates them. That's literally what the Ten of Pentacles is about. Your success is an investment in your ancestral treasury. So make sure that if you start to have moments where you're ruminating and you're dealing with doubt, anchor yourself in gratitude, anchor yourself in prayer, get your butt up and go sit around some people who are going to remind you of the blessing you are to your lineage, because that's what's going to help you move forward. And engage in some whimsy. When was the last time you sat down with a coloring book? When was the last time you sat down with some paints? When was the last time you just read for pleasure? That's something I, as a self-help book addict, as a psychology book addict, that's something I have to check myself on. And I have to remind myself, okay, read for pleasure. I'm actually knee deep in Salvage the Bones right now, which is one of my favorite fiction books. But bring some whimsy into your life. If you find yourself in nervous energy, if you find yourself super anxious, it's because you're isolated. It's because all you're thinking about is the negative aspects of your past, like there wasn't joy and brilliance there, like you weren't brilliant in your past. And you need to be around some people. But be discerning about the people that you're around. Don't get around the people that are going to feed your fears. Get around the people that are going to remind you of how brilliant you are and blessed you are and everything that you have to achieve in the future, okay? That's the health message for this week. The thing that I love about the health message that's coming up is that the physical body is going to be fine. The physical body is going to be fine. The only way that you will have complications around triggering your health is if you're not managing your mental, your emotional, and spiritual health. So take that seriously. Don't sit around and ruminate until you give yourself migraines. Don't stress yourself until you trigger your ulcers. We don't have time for that, okay? Let's look at, Spirit wants me to do love next. I'm going to do all right, I'm back. I need to remember that. I think we all need to remember that, Sanidra. I felt that message as well. And I see a lot of scales, so I think it ruminated with quite a few people. Hey, Tiffany, good to see you. Glad that you're here. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me, my elevated ancestors. What wisdom do we as a collective need about love, romance, and matters of the heart during the week of April 13th through the 19th? Give us insight into who we need to be, what we need to see about ourselves, our habits, and our environments that have impact over our relationship with love. If there are any lessons, blessings, challenges, or breakthroughs in this area of life, illuminate them now so that we know how to best prepare. Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Ooh, that's delicious. Okay, I love that for us. This is the love message for anyone who is watching either live or in the replay. a lot of us, if you did not do your spring spiritual cleansing, just because the nature of the readings, all three spreads have either had the Eight of Swords or the Nine of Swords, okay? And there's a lot of doubt. There's a lot of confusion lingering over a lot of people's heads right now. And typically when that comes up over and over again in the collective reading, it's because, and I love y'all, and y'all are not my students. Y'all watch me on YouTube. I have to remind myself that of all the times, so I can't go off on y'all the way that I typically would my students. But I will say this. It comes up in readings when people aren't doing their cleanses, okay? And there are a lot of you all who are overdue for a head wash. You are overdue for a floor wash. You are overdue for a smudging of your home, okay? And why am I bringing this up? There's just so much hyperfixation on the past. Some of you all are not having the experiences of love you want because all you think about is the lover that broke your heart, the one that got away, the fight that you had with your husband or your wife that you are still carrying resentment around, even though they think everything's okay. Nine of Swords, the loss of peace as it relates to your love life. And if all you do is lose sleep and lose peace, ruminating over what didn't go right, hell yeah, it's going to be hard to call in the kind of love, the kind of romance, and the kind of connection that you want to have. And again, I don't think this is just about the single people in the room. I think that some of y'all are in relationship and y'all sitting there withholding the nookie, not letting yourself connect physically with your partner because you mad at them over some shit that happened 2 weeks ago. Nine of Swords is saying you are causing your pain by losing sleep and not letting yourself have peace over something. You're so fearful that the past is going to come back and haunt you that you're not allowing yourself to be present and in the moment. Let that shit go. Whatever it is, if it's the ex that you broke up with, let it go. If it's the fight you had with your partner, let it go. Saying you forgive a person, but sitting and stewing in the resentment is not helpful. Whatever it is, you know what it is. Let it go. Move forward. You cannot carry this into your new situation. You cannot bring this into the new chapter. So the Eight of Cups is saying that in order for you to move forward to something that feels better, you have to let the past go. You have to let it go. And you have to be able to have a refresh and a restart. This is what's going to put you back in alignment with your passions. I love the Eight of Wands because it has so many meanings, and one of them is Cupid's arrows, right? And I want to focus specifically on the lovers right now, the people that are in relationship. Part of the reason why the love life is fucked up is because it's hard to feel sexy when all you're remembering is the fact that y'all had an argument and that nigga said something you didn't like 2 weeks ago. The moment that you are able to let it go, the easier it is for the passion to fly in, the easier it is for the love to come in, the easier it is for Cupid's arrows to hit you, the easier it is for you to have that rebirth where the passion comes along. But even for the single people, until you can move forward and stop fixating on your past, until you can move forward and be open to new experiences, Cupid's arrows aren't going to hit you. The new opportunities aren't going to be able to find you, right? Another thing about the Eight of Wands is that you have to be in the energy of flow. You have to be mutable in your energy and adaptable so that when new love comes along, you can meet it where it is, right? Eight of Wands energy comes so quickly that you have to ride the wave of it. And how can you ride the wave of a new energy coming in if all you're doing is losing your peace to what didn't work out in the past, right? Two of Cups, love that is reciprocal, partnership that is reciprocal. A lot of you guys are saying that you want a particular type of partner, but you're not being the energy that matches that, right? You guys have heard me say before, you got that, for example, people say, I'm a sapiosexual, I want an intellect. You ain't read a book in 6 months. You ain't read not nary a book. You ain't been to no museum. You ain't listened to a podcast. You don't know shit about what's going on in the news. So say that intellectual, it does get attracted to you on the physical. What can you have to pour into them? Two of Cups. It's love and partnership based on reciprocity, but you have to be the cup that has something to pour into the other person as well, right? And this is under that Nine of Swords. The ruminations and the nightmares and the loss of sleep is pulling you out of the energy of reciprocity. It's pulling you out of a dynamic where you can be a partner that brings equal exchange. Now, why is this warning even coming up? We know that the Three of Swords is heartbreak meant for maturation. Some of you guys are going to fuck around and fumble that Two of Cups connection because you can't see clearly. There's a new love and a new connection and a new opportunity for reconciliation that's in your face. But because you're so hyperfixated on what hasn't worked out before, it's causing an emotional confusion in you that's not allowing you to see clearly. And what happens with Seven of Cups energy? We make an impulsive decision because we can't see clearly that we end up regretting a few months down the line. This is why when it comes to love this week, it's really, really important to make sure that you are moving in a way that is forward thinking, that you are moving in a way where you can leave behind what hurts you, the negative memories, that you can walk away from it, trusting that that restart gives you an opportunity to be rooted in, to be ready for the passion that's coming to you, right? That's the only way that you're going to get the kind of love experiences you want to have. You heard me say that a delicious card fell out, and I love the Justice card. A lot of people don't love the Justice card, but I love it. I love Justice card because it's there to remind us the only way we get balance in our lives is by literally being balanced. And we don't like that. If you know any Libras in your life, you know that that's something that frustrates the hell out of them, right? We think that Libras are the scales because they are balanced. No, Libras are constantly seeking balance, right? And the Justice card is here to remind us it's karmic. It is a karma energy. We only get back what we put into situations. I want to go back to this Two of Cups. You got to be the love you want to receive. Because here's the thing, when we are in relationships where people are always pouring into us, they will get worn out eventually. So again, be the energy you want to receive. You want an intellectual partner? Sit down at a coffee shop and read a fucking book. You want a physically fit partner? When was the last time you took your ass to the gym or went for a run or a hike, right? You want a worldly partner, but you don't even have a passport. Be the love you want to receive. Instead of worrying about what you lost in the past, leave that behind so that you can be the love you want to receive, which makes you ready for the blessings and opportunity, right? So when this equal partner shows up, you don't have to get ready. You don't have to figure out how to do the workouts. You're already doing them, right? But that's the only way that things are going to come to balance. You're going to have to give what it is you want to receive. You get back what you put into love as an energy, okay? So that is the love reading for the week. Now let's look at our money. And then we'll go ahead and wrap up and I'll take questions from the audience, okay? I've been getting the Justice card a lot lately. Well, that makes sense. That makes sense because your spirits are asking you to think about what are you putting in to your life in order to get back what it is you want to get. So I love that for you. I gotta still put up the last tarot class. So Nidra, seeing your name just reminded me I gotta put that up on the Patreon. Because I, if I'm remembering correctly, we did talk about the Justice card a little bit. So I'm going to make sure that that goes up tonight. And hopefully you can join us on the 28th when we have our next intuitive tarot workshop. If there are any of you who are interested in learning tarot, who want to figure out how to read tarot intuitively, once a month we do intuitive tarot workshops in the Patreon. All paid members get access to the live session. Everyone who is joined at the friendship circle or higher gets access to the replay, okay? So if you know you want to study tarot, if you have not been making progress or breakthrough learning on your own, consider joining my Patreon, okay? Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me. What do we as a collective need to know about our wealth, our money, and our finances during the week of April 13th through the 19th? What will the next 7 days hold for us in relationship, in terms of our relationship with money and the flow of resources in our lives? If there are any hindrances, blockages, breakthroughs, challenges, lessons, or blessings in this area of life, highlight them now so we know how to best prepare and protect ourselves. Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. I was in one you did like 4 years ago. It was so helpful. I thank you for that feedback. Thank you so much, because, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but beep beep. Trying to get better at accepting compliments and owning them. But that is a feedback that I get a lot. People will say, you know, Mambo, you taught a class this many years ago and it still resonates with me, or you went over this lesson and I still lean on it. And honestly, that is the most important compliment to me. And it makes me so grateful to Spirit, because I do love teaching, but I don't want it to just be ego-based teaching. Anything that I teach, I want it to have impact on people. So if I taught a lesson 4 years ago and it's still resonating with you, thank you for the affirmation that I did my job right. I deeply, deeply appreciate that. I would love that class. Join the Patreon, Tiffany. If I'm not mistaken, aren't you already a Patreon member? Everybody who's on the Patreon gets access to that class. My Patreon is good. I strongly encourage, especially if you are not in a position where you are ready for full mentorship, but you still just want to have access to ongoing classes. Now, here's the thing. The Patreon classes are not as in-depth as the ones in my mentorship programs, but they're still good in terms of keeping people active and keeping them on their toes and getting them to think about how to strengthen their divination, how to strengthen their herbalism skills. So if you're not already joined to the Patreon, go ahead and join. Again, anyone who is at any of the paid memberships gets access to the live classes. Anyone who is at at the friendship tier or higher gets access to the replays, okay? Ancestors, clarify the Five of Pentacles. What do we need to know about the Five of Pentacles? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Hey, Senseful, good to see you. I miss those workshops too. I definitely work on trying to get your membership. Yeah. I try to do, in the Patreon, I try to do one herbalism and one tarot class a month. So even on the months where we don't have the workshop, I'll just do a straight up tarot lecture. And they're typically like intro level classes. And here's the thing. It's cheaper to do them through the Patreon, because when I sell them on my website, they are not going to be that long. I'm just going to be honest. So the Patreon is a good deal. And I want to thank Priestess Cat for this message, this lesson, because it was one of the things I learned from her. And I want to pay it back. I don't even remember what class it was. It was a class I sat in on hers a couple of years ago as well. Money needs to move, right? Money needs to move in order to grow. Money does not like to be held captive, okay? Now, when I say that, I need you to understand that that is not the same thing as me saying you got to go out and blow all your money tomorrow to earn money, right? That's not what I'm saying. but your money does need to move. And some of us may be dealing with stagnation around our money because we're not letting it move, right? We're not spending it on the things we need to spend it on, right? There may be something broken in your home. There may be something that you need to take care of and you're not doing it, right? There may be a class that you've been saying that you're going to sign up for the last 3-4 months and you're avoiding it. But if you feel like your money is stuck and stagnant, it's because it is, right? And rather than using your money for investment, you are doing a lot of talking about what you should be doing with your money and not actually putting the money forward. Okay? Knight of Swords. The thing about the Knight of Swords, they are the most intelligent of the knights. They're also the busiest, right? They're also the one that is the most in action. It is a be about it, not talk about it energy. And for a lot of us, either watching live or in the replay, this is the energy that we need to be in right now, right? We already know what we need to do. We already know the stock we've been fantasizing about buying. We already know the workshop we want to sign. We already know. Put your money where your mouth is. Instead of sitting around gossiping, fantasizing, talking about what you're going to do with a bunch of people who are just going to sit around the second that you leave the table and be like, she always talking about what she going to do and she never do it. Instead of having those conversations with those bitches, because everybody sees through it, right? They see through your talk and you're just giving them things to talk about you behind your back for, right? Instead of talking and running your mouth while clenching your pentacles and sitting on them and not using them to live your life, right? You need to be in that Knight of Swords energy where you put your money into action, okay? Now, why are you not doing that? This and its fucking cousin, the Nine of Swords and the Eight of Swords keep coming up. And I'm using the language of we loosely because this is a collective reading. We are holding ourselves back by being racked by fear, right? You may not want to go out and buy the new class because you're thinking about the last time you purchased a class and somebody scammed you. Let's be real, right? You don't want to invest in the stock because you're thinking about the last time you invested in one and it didn't see as big of a return you wanted, right? But that energy is only going to hold you hostage. And in holding you hostage, it is going to also hold your money hostage, right? Knight of Cups. Money needs to be treated well. It needs to feel welcomed. It needs to feel honored. And it's not going to feel honored locked up while you sit on it and you don't do anything with it, right? But the other reason why the Knight of Cups is coming up is because your money needs to be used to fuel your passions. Some of you guys, again, you're sitting around talking about the vacation you want to take and you don't have your passport. The Knight of Cups is saying, turn that fantasy into action and go get the fucking passport, right? You are fantasizing about the business you want to have and you sit around with people and you dream about it and you run your mouth about it and you sit at happy hour and get drunk and fantasize over it. You ain't got no fucking LLC. You ain't even set up a website. How can you have a business without a website, right? So you have to step out of the nightmare energy because look, the reality is that fear-based thinking that's sitting on your money is only going to keep you broke. And not only is it going to keep you broke, it's going to keep you in community with other broke bitches who try to convince you that it's okay to be broke by talking, fantasizing, and gossiping around other people. Clarifiers over the Five of Pentacles, Knight of Swords again. You need to be in action. What are you doing to make your money move? How is your money putting force and energy and vitality and drive into your life? What are the ways that your fear-based thinking is keeping you in a poverty mindset and around other poverty mindset people? How's it fueling scarcity in your life, right? She did. She did bless us with a lot of information. A lot of information. Very, very brilliant girl. Hold on to your money with purpose, not out of fear or lingering lack mindset. Exactly. Exactly. Hold on to your money with purpose. Absolutely, because that is the Four of Pentacles message. But don't hold on to it in a way that stagnates you, right? There's no point in holding on to your money if you don't have a passport. There's no point in holding on to your money and fantasizing about your education but not using your money to get education, right? And here's the other thing, and I want to go back to the Three of Cups. Some of you guys will say that you don't have money for training, but you have money to go out and get tacos and margaritas every Tuesday. Some of you guys will say that you don't have money to travel, but you have money to go to a happy hour. You got money to go to a festival, right? Three of Cups is celebration, but it's also celebration that leads to drunkenness. And when we talk about the drunkenness of Three of Cups, it may not be literal drunkenness like your shit face, but it's escapism. So if you are a person that has enough money to spend on escapism, but you don't have enough money to fuel your progress, that's a priorities issue. That's not a bandwidth issue. You're putting your money in the wrong directions. And some of us who are watching this, either live or in the replay, that is our issue. We have enough money to go out and waste it on pleasure and escapism, but not money to put into our self-betterment, not money to position ourselves to make more money in the future. And that's the problem. So if you know that that's you, if that sounds even a little bit familiar, this is a week where you really got to work on shifting things in terms of priorities. Holding on to money and not having life insurance is insane. Holding on to money and not having even just a little bit of crypto stashed away somewhere is insane. Holding on to money and not having a savings account is nuts. Holding on to money and not having a 401k. Fuck life insurance. Holding on to money and not having health insurance is stupid. But you're absolutely right. It's a priorities issue. And that is the message that is coming through abundantly clear. Your impulses around money, there's way too much fear when it comes to spending your money towards betterment, and not enough fear or not enough hesitation when it comes to spending your money towards escapism and pleasure. And so that is something that really needs to be reflected over this week for those who are watching either live or in the replay, okay? We are now at the end of the readings, and this is where I will take questions from the audience. As you guys are typing your questions in the comments section, I just want to update you guys on a few things that I'm working on. So I finally set the dates for two of the 3 in-person healing sessions, okay? So the Bay Area, California healing sessions will take place July 24th through the 27th. And the Atlanta in-person healing sessions will take place August 5th through the 7th. Both of those are listed on my website. I'm still working out the details for the DC sessions. I hope to have the dates for those, hopefully. I plan to have the dates for those solidified by this upcoming weekend. But Atlanta and Bay Area have been chosen. So if you're interested in booking an in-person session with me, either in the Bay Area or here in Atlanta, go to my website. The link for both is below in the comments section. The next round of the Rich Spirit Prosperity Ritual will be taking place May 4th through the 7th. The deadline to sign up is May 2nd. If you would like to participate in Rich Spirit, go ahead and sign up. I've been doing this ritual for a few years now. Everybody makes money. If you do it right, and like literally it's one of those rituals you can't fuck up unless you're trying to. Let's be real. But if you are trying to manifest some change in your life around your finances, do Rich Spirit. Just in the last round alone, we had somebody before the ritual was even over receive $8,000 out of nowhere, right? We had people get new jobs before the ritual was over. The rounds just get stronger, stronger, better, and better. So definitely encourage you to sign up for Rich Spirit. What else? Natal chart readings as well as shadow work consultations are on sale for the month of April. So shadow work consultations are $85. Natal chart readings are $125. They are typically much more expensive than that. So if you are interested in getting either one, make sure you book before May 1st to get the built-in discount. I'm crafting again, finally. Actually, let me grab what I worked on this weekend just you saw that I was like literally cleaning and moving feathers and all kinds of trinkets and shit. This area where I keep my tarot cards, and that's because I'm crafting again. And I've been making my chicken feet amulets again. So these are some that were commissioned by a client. And then I also have a few that I just made to set aside. So if anyone is interested in getting one of these, this is a prosperity one that I made just for general. And it's quite beautiful. These are amazing. I taught a workshop on how to make them yourself a couple of years ago. At one point, I was selling kits for people to make them on their own at home. I don't think I have that up on my website anymore, but also I will make one for you if you just, purchase. When you purchase your amulet, you get a phone call from me within the days after you've purchased. And then I talk to you about what purpose you want it for. These can be, the primary way to use chicken feet amulets is for protection, but you can also use them to scratch negative energies out of your body. So they're good for health and cleansing. You can also use them to call in abundance and prosperity. I've made one for somebody that helped them attract a partner. That was crazy. That was it. That was a learning lesson for me. But these are really, really powerful tools. And if you are a student of hoodoo, you know that chicken feet amulets have a history within American hoodoo practices. They are good to have around. But yeah, if you want one, I'm in the crafting mood and I have a few that I made over the weekend. I'm going to be posting those on the Facebook as well as on my website. But also, if you want me to make a bespoke one for you, that is an option that you have as well. So they're typically $100, but I'm going to mark them down to $75 for the month of April. That way, if people want one, they can get one. And again, you can get one that I've already made, and I'll post the colors that I already have made. But if you want one that's made specially for you, that will also be an option as well. But those are the main things that I'm working on right now. We're still doing interviews for Charm School. If you would like to join Charm School, make sure you join the intake group so that we can get you scheduled for an interview. If you know you would like to get mentorship, but you may not be ready for Charm School, I have a self-paced independent study mentorship program called Study Hall. Join the Charm School intake group anyway, because I share information about both in the Charm School chat. Okay? And again, speaking of Patreon classes, Tuesday the 14th, I will be teaching a class on how to make an uncrossing laundry rinse. Okay. This is a recipe that I developed after a negative experience where work was being thrown at me. I have a lot of protections over my home. And because I have those protections over my home, but I hadn't thought about, bitch, you need to protect yourself a certain way when you travel, something got to me, right? So this uncrossing wash is something that I developed after that experience, right? So you can use it to uncross your clothes either when you return or while you are traveling. But also I have assigned it to clients who thrift a lot, right? And that's the primary way that they use it, is to uncross energies off of things that they've thrifted or that they've bought vintage. So this will not only be a class where I'm teaching you how to create that wash or that laundry rinse. It's more of a rinse, right? It does not replace soap. It's a rinse. I will teach you how to make the uncrossing laundry rinse. And I will also be given an herbalism lesson on my 5 favorite uncrossing herbs. Okay. So again, if you want to participate in that class, join my Patreon. All paid members get access to the live class. Everyone at the friendship level or higher gets access to the replays. I was gonna ask if they could be there. That's the primary way that I use mine. They're perfect for protection. They're amazing for protection. You can either put it in your car, right? I have clients that have them in their cars. One client is kind of badass. She literally has it hanging from her rearview mirror. But you can put it in a place in your car if you need protection when you travel a lot, especially if you travel by motor vehicle, by car. You can put it in your house, either at your front door or your back door. You can keep it on your altar. I use mine as a divination tool. So when I do my scratches over my body, which is something I talk about in the class, and that I also teach people how to do once they purchase, when I do my scratches, Spirit will tell me about whether or not certain things are being thrown at me and where it's coming from. But they are very, very, very powerful protection devices. By tomorrow morning, the discount will be put on the website. So again, right now they're listed for $100, but for the rest of April, I'm going to be giving them or creating them for people at $75. Here's the thing. Can you make these on your own? Yeah. You got to learn how though. You're not going to go to any hoodoo shop or apothecary and find them, enchanted and swagged out like this. I don't know any other way to say it. You can go to apothecaries and get dried chicken feet, but a lot of I'm not going to go in. All that is in my class. Let me stop rambling. Yeah, you can scratch energies out of your body, Sanidra. But that's enough of that. Reading time. If anyone would like a reading, go ahead and send your love offerings. Tiffany, I see that you sent a love offering. Please let me know what your question is so that I can answer it. General readings, suggested love offering of $11.11. If you have a question, but you don't necessarily have that amount to give what you can, and I'll answer your question. If you want a new moon reading, though, you have to send $11.11. So I'm still doing new moon readings because there are some people that may not have been able to attend Astral Hour, which is totally fine. So if you want a new moon in Aries reading, send your $11.11, and I will do that for you now. Why do I keep dreaming about Lamont? And what message or lesson are my ancestors trying to show me? Okay. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me. My elevated ancestors. What wisdom does Tiffany need at this time about her dreams about Lamont? What is it that her spirits are trying to tell her? What is the message? What is the lesson coming through in these dreams? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Is Lamont a previous lover? Because here's the thing. If I get a strong indication or strong understanding that Lamont is a past lover, And the reason why you are dreaming about him is because you are in a lack mindset around romance. And this can happen sometimes when we are not dating enough or we're not dating intentionally, right? We can ruminate about the past, right? Two things, two messages coming through. You need to do a cord cutting with his energy specifically. I don't know if you've done a cord cutting recently that was general, but it's good idea that you cut the cord of his energy. It's clear that you're not supposed to go back to him. That's not what this is. But there is a poverty mindset. There's a longing there that makes you look at the past. And his energy, although not the best for you, it would be easy to return to, right? So when it comes to love and dreams, a lot of times when we dream of past lovers, especially past lovers we know we're not supposed to be with, it's because returning to that is easy, right? So the poverty mindset around that is what's making that come up. Spirit really wants you to work on your faith and your hope with love, right? Again, faith of a mustard seed. Star card comes up to let us know that things are going to shift, but we have to move like it's going to shift, right? So if you are in the mindset that things aren't happening the way you want them to, and then because they're not happening the way that you want them to, that they're not going to, that's going to continue to make you think about him and dream about him. So there is something that needs to shift in your energy. Once that shift takes place, it'll be easier for you to be hopeful, right? Again, Page of Wands being the child with the big imagination. Page of Wands is also the card of the messenger. So the message is that you need to go out and date more instead of thinking about him. I hate being vulgar, but I literally heard that Megan Thee Stallion song, and I forget what song it is. She was like, "I'm not worried about you, nigga. I got new dick." Captain Hook. I don't mean to be vulgar, but you know you low key need to get a new nookie partner, because that phrase, even though it's vulgar, the easiest way to forget about somebody is to get under somebody new. Low key has some weight to it, right? So yeah, go ahead and get yourself some new. You just need to be out with new people. The more you explore new people, the easier it will be for you to stop thinking about him. But also, you need to do a cord cutting, baby. Do a cord cutting to release his energy. Is it too late for Uranus and Gemini? No, I can do Uranus and Gemini as well. Just go ahead and send your love offering, Sinidra, and I'll do the Uranus and Gemini reading for you after I do Tauri. The only reason why I didn't put Uranus and Gemini in the banner was because the new moon is coming faster than Uranus and Gemini. But I can do that for you. Just go ahead and send your love offering, and I'll do it after Tauri. Okay? I'm so tired of doing cord cutting on this person. Okay. Definitely resonate. Let's talk at some point, Tiffany, because if the cord cuttings aren't working, it could be that you need, because there are multiple ways to do a cord cutting, right? So we may need to touch base to see how you're doing your cord cutting, or if it's something that needs to happen in terms of you doing some sort of head wash, right? But yeah, I think also you just need you need some new. I'm not gonna repeat it. I don't want to be vulgar. Okay, Tori, how can I get over this depressive episode? I've been in this energy for a month and it's exhausting. Okay, so disclaimer, I will answer your question, and this is a disclaimer that I'm going to start giving in the future in general. This is spiritual wisdom. It is not a replacement for mental health care. So I'm never going to turn anybody's question down or turn them away. But please understand that the wisdom that I'm sharing with you does not outrank anything that your medical professionals tell you to do, okay? But let's see. Let's see what Spirit has to say. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me, my elevated ancestors. What wisdom does Tori need about navigating her depressive episode? What will allow her to pull herself out of this energy? It is starting to exhaust her. It is starting to drain her. What wisdom does she need at this time that will help her navigate the situation? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Yes, Tiffany, it's been a while since we've spoken. I'm going to text you before the night is over. I'm not running any sales or specials at this time, but I will send you something to help you take a little bit off of the cost if that helps you. Okay? So we'll talk. I'll text you. I still got to deep condition my hair. Sorry, I got my braid appointment tomorrow. Vain, Taurus, you got to forgive me. Yeah, I'll make sure that I'll text you before the night is over. Yeah, I got time. Definitely got time. Clarify the Queen of Cups. What do we need to know about the Queen of Cups? You need to work with the water deity that I've spoken with you about, and we'll talk about that a little bit more one-on-one. She wants to work with you around being future focused and being optimistic. Right now, a huge part of what is keeping you in the energy of this depressive episode is that you have a hard time seeing how things are going to get better in the future, right? So, Queen of Cups is coming up, A, because it's literally her, but B, you need to work on understanding that it's important to nurture yourself, right? When things slow down or they're not going the way that you want them to, that is not an opportunity or a reason to beat yourself up. It's even more important that you nurture yourself when things are going difficult, right? Because that's the only thing that's going to pull you out of the tightrope energy. There's a part of you that's worried about money, and money, you are a Venus sign. You're a Libra. I'm a Taurus. That's the thing that the Venus signs share. When money is not right, they don't know how to be nice. They don't know how to feel good, right? And that's a reality that you deal with. So the financial tightrope that you're navigating is making it hard for you to be optimistic. But the unfortunate reality is that the only way that you can pull yourself out of this situation is to be optimistic and to move in that Leonic sun energy where you believe that not only are things going to work out for you, but that you deserve to have things that will work out for you, right? One of the funniest things I ever heard, and I heard a Leo say once that they can actually make friends with a lion, that they really believe that if they met a lion in the jungle, the lion would not eat them, it would become their friend, right? That's the kind of energy you have to move with right now. In spite of things not looking the way that you want them to, you have to move with such deep optimism that you believe that everything's going to work out for you, because that's the only way that it is. Okay, Tori? A lot of what you're going through right now is about learning how to manage money and learning how to create opportunities for yourself even when they feel scarce, right? There's an apprenticeship dynamic taking place right now in your life. And so figuring out a way to, rather than ruminate, turn this into wisdom, right? Developing that muscle is going to be really important for you. But then this is also about learning opportunity around this deity that I'm mentioning. This is a time where you're learning how to work with her. So we're going to talk about that. She also wants to help you in terms of recovering from heartbreak, because another thing that actually is fueling your depression is some romantic stuff that you weren't expecting that kind of blindsided you over the last month. So, short answer, trying to work on a way to have authentic optimism and seeing nurturing optimism authentically. That's a lesson you need to learn, because life has ebbs and flows. It has ups and downs. It's not always going to be great. And learning how to still believe and take care of yourself even when things are bad is a life lesson that you need to pick up. But also, it's just time for you to start praying and navigating and deepening your relationship with this goddess. It's just time, because there's breakthrough that she is here to help you with. Let me know if that makes sense. Let me know if that answered your question. Sanidra wants the Uranus and Gemini reading that I did at Astro Hour. Hey Nicole, good to see you. I'm glad that you came back. I got the stream worked out. So if you all were not able to watch Thursday's Astro Hour reading, I really want to strongly encourage you to go back and watch it. Uranus and Gemini in particular is really important because it's about to be, Uranus transits last for 7 years. Okay, so the wisdom of Uranus and Gemini is wisdom that's going to be with you for 7 years, which is a long ass time. Okay, so please go back and watch that if you did not already, so that way you know how it's going to impact you. But for Sanidra, in terms of the mind shift she can expect from Uranus and Gemini, let's see. Yes, sisters, angels, ascended masters. Woo. I'm going to switch decks because this one's jumpy. I've been using her all day. I think she's a little tired. So I'm going to switch over to Millennial Tarot and let Tarot of Divine rest a little bit. Also going to take a sip of my sparkling water because my throat's getting a little dry. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me, my elevated ancestors. Give us insight into the mind shift that Uranus and Gemini is here to help Sanidra have. How will this transit show up in her life? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Thank you, Nicole. I love Astro Hour. It was something I was afraid to start doing, but I really, really love the conversations we have there. I think it ends up being really, really helpful. If there is anyone else after Sanidra that would like a reading, go ahead and send your love offering and put your question below so that I can get to you after her. If not, then I'll go ahead and wrap up for the night so I can deep condition this hair. Get ready for my hair appointment tomorrow. Okay. What is being disrupted in your thinking? King of Wands in reverse. There is a, I don't want to say crises. Crises is the word the Spirit was putting on my heart. So I'm going to say it because they said it, even though it makes me uncomfortable. But there is a conflict. I feel more comfortable with conflict. There's a conflict right now going on in your self-esteem, right? You don't take up space the way you need to. You don't have the level of self-belief that you should, right? And King of Wands, when he's upright, he's literally the embodiment of self-belief, right? He believes that he deserves and can have everything, and because of that, he's always enrolling people in his vision. In reverse, it represents somebody who has a conflict or a struggle of confidence, and that is something that Uranus and Gemini really wants to disrupt with you. They really want to disrupt this habit of playing small and kind of shirking from responsibility in the spotlight. Okay. What truth is trying to come through? What insight, message, or realization is emerging? We have the Four of Wands. This is a time where you should be focused on building a stable foundation. The Four of Wands is coming through to say that celebration, homecoming, these are all things that you're worthy of, right? But even though Uranus and Gemini is going to be a really disruptive and a catastrophic energy for most people, it's not going to be that way for you, right? That's why the Four of Wands is coming up. They really want you to see that home is what you should be focused on. Your legacy is what you should be focused on. Embracing celebration, right? Because that's the thing. Four of Wands is not just homecoming. It's celebration of hitting your milestones. And you have the potential, and now I see why this is what they want to disrupt in you. You actually have the potential to hit a lot of milestones and have a lot of breakthrough in these next 7 years. But you have to move like you believe it. right? You have to trust it, okay? How do you ground and use this information? Ace of Swords. You have to start trusting your intuition. I've said this to you before. Your spirits are very active around you. And a lot of times the intuitive belief or thought that you receive is the accurate one. But because, again, you struggle with self-confidence, you don't believe it. And so the Ace of Swords is coming through to say, we're going to give you a lot of insight. There's a lot of breakthrough. There's a lot of new information coming into your life. And it will behoove you to believe it. It will behoove you to trust yourself. It will behoove you to really nurture and honor your intuition. Okay? So that is the wisdom that I'm seeing for you, Sanidra. Let me know if that was helpful for you, if that resonated with you. Okay. Omo Moare wants the Uranus and Gemini reading as well. I got you. I got you. Makes sense. I've been focusing on my kids. Yes. Thank God. Yes. Fuck that job. I know you like your job and I know you need your job, but the only reason why I say that is because I know you were going through a period of time, Sanidra, where you were letting that job kick your back in. And so hearing that you are focusing on you and your babies and your life right now, that makes me very, very happy. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me, my elevated ancestors. What wisdom does Omo Moare need at this time about the Uranus and Gemini transit? What is the mind shift that she will be embracing and experiencing over these next 7 years? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Yes, fuck this school year. Fuck them kids. Not your kids, but the other people's kids. Them badass kids. That was draining the hell out of you. I hope you have an amazing summer because, child, if anybody deserves one, you deserve it. My sister-in-law has been posting a lot about Hot Mom Summer. And if anybody deserves Hot Mom Summer, girl, it's you. Okay, so Omo Moare, so the first card in terms of your mind shift that's taking place. What is being disrupted in your thinking? You're not taking as many risks as you need to, or not as big a risks as you need to, right? It's almost like the risks that you take, they're comfortable and they look big to other people, but nigga, you know you could be doing more. You know, like I'm saying this out of love. Because the Fool card is coming forward to say you are worthy of taking big risks, right? I love that this is the card of the millennial in this deck because people make fun of millennials, but when we look at a lot of the big innovations and the ways of doing things that are permanent and part of the par for the course culturally, right? That are part of the zeitgeist, millennials are responsible for them, right? That is the energy of the Fool card. It's doing it scared. It's taking the leap, even if other people don't understand, right? And that's what I mean when I say that some of the leaps you've taken are actually safe. They look big to other people, but they're actually very comfortable to you. Some of the risks you need to take may make other people look at you crazy, but it doesn't matter if they look crazy to other people, right? Because again, you're not leaping for insanity reasons. You know that your spirits have that net for you. You know that you're going to be taken care of. You know that things are going to work out for you, right? So that's the narrative that needs to be shaken up. You need to be taking bigger risks, right? What truth is trying to come through? Message, realization, or insight that is emerging. So this is weird because I don't experience you this way, but again, imposter syndrome is not that's the nature of it. Other people may not see it. Just because you deal with it doesn't mean other people see it, right? So the Eight of Pentacles is coming up to say that even though you are deeply skilled, even though you are deeply learned, right? Because the Eight of Pentacles is a card of somebody who is very trained in their skill set. Part of the reason why you're not taking the risks you need to take is because there is a little bit of imposter syndrome there, right? So this is the realization that they're trying to bring forward in you, not to make you feel bad, but so much, it's like you can't really deal with the thing until you acknowledge that it's there, if that makes sense. So in them pulling this to the forefront, it's easier for you to shake it off, right? How do you ground yourself and use this information? How do you apply this without spiraling? We have the Ace of Wands, and I actually love this card for you, right? Because the Ace of Wands is new opportunities and new beginnings. You're going to be offered a lot of new opportunities. Some of these new opportunities are for passions that you haven't even shared yet, right? That's why I love that this is the card of microdosing and that it's a big ass shroom, right? Because for those of y'all who've done plant medicine is going to bring the thing to the forefront that's deep in your subconscious, right? But with this being the card of the Ace of Wands, some of the opportunities that you're going to be presented in these next 7 years are things that you haven't even allowed yourself to say out loud. You need to go with them anyway. You need to take the risk and do them anyway. Instead of creating a narrative or creating an excuse to create fear where there is none, go with it, right? So I actually really love this for you. I love this for you. I feel like this is a really Leo-ass reading. And the fact that you're being encouraged to take bigger risks, I love that for you tremendously. Let me know, filth on the first card. I wasn't trying to. Okay, hopefully that means that resonated with you. Thank you for trusting me and letting me do that reading for you. Okay, let's see. I see a couple other people have submitted offerings, so just give me a second to see who else has submitted. If you didn't already put your question in the chat, please do so that I know who I'm reading for. Let's see, hold on a second. KFS, did you want a new moon reading, your Uranus and Gemini reading, or a general question? Let me know which one you want, KFS, so that way I can do your question for you. And if there's anyone else along with KFS that would like a reading, go ahead and send your offering. And I will take care of you, okay? KFS, baby, let me know what I'm reading on so that way I can do your reading. Nicole, I might need that. What is it that you need, Nicole? I don't remember what I said. General question. Okay. KFS, you just want me to do, I'm assuming that means you just want me to do a general reading messages from the ancestors. Let's see. Oh, well, all right. It definitely resonates. I understand the imposter syndrome is because I let other people's suggestions distract me with new possibilities. Yeah, it happens to the best of us. I think you got this. I think very similarly to Sanidra, this is you're gonna have this experience during Uranus and Gemini where it's cutting up in everybody else's life, and you're just like, oh, I don't understand. Why is everybody else struggling? I feel like that's how things are gonna manifest for you and Sanidra while Uranus is in Gemini. That's gonna be hilarious to witness, though. Microdosing. So, okay, so I'm gonna be brave and I'm gonna share this here. I'm telling myself, speaking of imposter syndrome, I was actually supposed to do this in October and then I punked out. So now it's gonna happen in January of 2027. But I will be doing a shroom retreat in Dallas, Texas. So if you, and I have an actual trained shaman as well as an energy healer and a sound healer that I'm going to be working with in Dallas. So if you're serious about microdosing, Nicole, just know that in mid-January there will be an opportunity for you to meet up with me and my girls and do that shit. All right, KFS, I got you. Let me do your general question. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me, my elevated ancestors. What wisdom does Francine need at this time? What do her ancestors want her to know? What is the wisdom that they have to pour into her? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Yeah, definitely keep your eye out. I wanted to try and do it in because the idea that I had was to do it in October, the week before Halloween, so that way people can have their breakthrough and stuff right before Gay Day season or Day of the Dead. But again, imposter syndrome, fear started creeping up, and other things have put me in a position to postpone it. And so when I asked my spirits when would be another time to do it, January made sense. So I will be doing it in mid-January. And I'm probably going to start advertising towards late summer, mid to late summer for it, so that way people have enough time to I be forgetting that the majority of my audience and my clients are moms, and y'all need a lot of time to get them kids in order and get things planned. But yeah. So we will definitely meet up in Dallas in January and let the shrooms speak to us and see what they have to teach us. Okay, so Francine, you have a tendency to be really tough on yourself. You have a tendency to be extremely gentle with other people. The amount of grace you give to other folks, you don't give to you. You just don't. And that is something that your spirits will really love to see you work on. It's a shadow issue because the card of shadow work is coming up, but a part of your own reparenting journey. And here's the thing. I talk a lot about reparenting. I talk a lot about inner child work for the same reason that I talk about financial trauma, because those are things I deal with, right? And for a long time in my own personal journey, I never wanted to talk about inner child healing or reparenting because I thought that only people who benefit from stuff like that had bad parents. And if y'all have ever heard me talk about my mama, you know I love my mama down. I'm a mommy's girl. Even as she's an ancestor, I'm a mommy's girl through and through. And so I never wanted it to seem like my mama did a bad job, right? Reparenting is not about whether or not you have a good or a bad parent. Parents are still human beings. And so there are certain lessons that they weren't able to give you. Not because they were bad or they traumatized you. They just weren't able to give it to you, right? And so for you, in terms of your reparenting journey as it relates to the divine masculine or the fathering you need, is compassionate fathering. That's why the King of Cups is coming up for you, okay? You have, and it may have been something you picked up from childhood or even in the working world, you have this belief that in order to be disciplined, you have to be hard on yourself. You have to be like ruthless. And that's what I mean when I say there's a compassion you give to other people that you don't give to yourself, right? So the King of Cups is the compassionate leader, somebody who gives empathy because they understand that people go through things. That's something you have to learn to give to yourself, right? Strength card, figuring out how to do that in a way that is authentic to you, right? Figuring out what it means to nurture yourself in a divine masculine way where you still have discipline in your life. That's a part of your journey. And it's something that's coming to the forefront now because it is a shadow issue. That's why the moon card is coming up, right? You won't fully be able to take your spirit initiation, right? Because the moon card comes up when there is something being pulled from the depths of the subconscious and brought into the light so that we can confront and integrate it, right? There are ways in which you've learned this lesson that are related to your shadow work. So I would encourage you, at least for the next 7 to 10 days, to really prioritize your shadow work journaling so that you can understand, okay, why is it that I am able to be compassionate to other people, but I have a struggle with being that way with myself, okay? Francine, let me know if that resonated with you or not. Let me know if that was helpful. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat, so I'm just gonna go ahead and catch up on the comments really quickly, and then we'll wrap up for the night. Let's see. Y'all got this. Y'all, Uranus and Gemini is gonna be fine for both of y'all, Sanidra and Omaware. Y'all gonna be fine. The one and only time I tried shrooms, I wasn't prepared. So here's the thing. And this is why I'm working with the healer that I'm working with. Shrooms, everybody can't do the same amount of shrooms. Everybody's experience is different. You can't have one person being, the facilitator for a group of 20 people in a room doing shrooms. It brings up a lot for a lot of people. So please know that my shroom retreat is going to be, I don't want to say accessible because we don't know what's going to come up when you do them, but I'm putting a lot of thought and a lot of effort into making sure that people feel nurtured and taken care of. So don't feel like you got to be prepared. Just come knowing that you're going to be safe and that you're going to be taken care of. Today is 7 years since my daddy ascended. He was still perfect in my eyes. I'm 40. I will never grow out of being daddy's girl. I get it. I understand. I was raised by my Uncle Bobby, which is funny because I only realized in the last few years that my Uncle Bobby is only 11 and a half years older than me. So he's not an old man at all. But you can't convince that nigga that I'm not his daughter. Like, even to this day, he don't want nobody looking at me crazy. He's light-skinned Cajun man with freckles, very angry, ornery Taurus, male Taurus. So I was raised by a nutcase. But yeah, I very much feel part of the reason why I'm a little stuck up is because he raised me. I don't know the other way to say it. Like, I have daddy girls tendencies because of how my Uncle Bobby raised me. You cannot convince him I'm not the most perfect, precious thing on the planet. And that's so important to have that male figure in your life that raises you, making you feel like you are the world, because you go out into the world demanding that in spaces, right? I just called him last week and thanked him for that, but I'm probably going to thank him for it again this week since we're having these conversations. Standards, not stuck up. I love that. And that's true. I keep having to remind myself of that. Yes, I'm trying to reparent myself, but the real parent is still alive and abusive. So reparenting doesn't matter if the parent is alive or not, right? It's about you giving, and a lot of times, let's be real, sometimes the reparenting is the strongest when that other parent is alive, right? Being able to teach yourself how to give yourself something that your elders wasn't capable of will remind you just how unequipped they are and will allow you to release the expectations you have of them, right? So I wish you the best on your journey. Please know that I'm here for you if you need support around it. Men who genuinely protect women and children are a blessing. Amen. That is so true. So true. And they're unfortunately a dying breed in this day and age. So we really got to nurture and be grateful for the ones who do it, because it's way too many of them. It's way too many men out here who are like angered by the fact that they should be honoring us instead of putting work into teaching themselves how to honor us. So when we have men in our lives who really do understand the blessing that women and children are and put the work into protecting them, really, really important that we thank them and acknowledge that. Love you all. I'm gonna go do something with his hair. Next time y'all see me, I'm trying out a new color with the braids this time. So next time y'all see me, it'll be different. Love you all. Have a beautiful and peaceful weekend. I'll see y'all on Thursday when we come together to talk shit, because we got to talk. So much has happened. We got to talk about Pooh Shiesty. We got to talk about Offset. I said in a reading a couple of years ago that part of the reason why Cardi needed to get rid of Offset was because he was fucking with her money. And I knew that part of even when they started divorcing, I knew that part of the reason why he was going so hard about trying to get, access to her money in a divorce, I knew that it was something going on. We got to have a real conversation about gambling addiction in the Black community. But whatever, we're going to do that shit on Thursday. Love y'all. Take care. See y'all in a few days. Be good. Do good. Treat yourself well. And if anybody tries to tell you you don't deserve to treat yourself well, cuss their ass out. I'll see y'all Thursday. Bye.